a wood of twilight gloom, a naive boy did stray. Drawn by whispered legends, he wandered far away. Through twisted trails of ancient trees and paths of whispered lore, he stumbled on a secret lair, a hut of magic, dark, and more. Within that eerie dwelling, shrouded in the mist of night, a night hag weaved her sorcery with charm both foul and bright. Her voice, a blend of honeyed words and shadows cold and deep, lured the boy with promises of secrets, hers to keep. Come, child, she softly beckoned with a smile both sly and grim. Discover tales of ancient runes where stars on edges brim. Enthralled by mystic lullabies, his innocence gave way, and with each whispered spell she cast, his heart began to sway. From that fateful, chilling moment, a dark enchantment grew, transforming him in subtle ways, as only cursed magic can do. Now, he roams the twilight hours, no longer whole or free, a living tale of lost childhood, forever changed by what must be. Secrets held in hags' dark lairs may alter fate and change, so heed this rhyme, ye wanderers, in forests old and strange. Hey, real quick, thanks for checking out this video on the Arch-Hag. I'm working through the entire monster manual one by one, alphabetically, and so I have a whole playlist of other videos like this that you should go ahead, like, and subscribe, get into that playlist so you can see each of these breakdowns of all these monsters. Let's get back into the Arch-Hag. I am so excited to welcome you to this Monster Spotlight, this series where I'm diving into the lore and mechanics of the most intriguing and dangerous creatures in the new 2024 Monster Manual. I'm Dan, your guide through the darker corners of the multiverse, and in today's episode, we'll be highlighting the Arch-Hag, a creature whose cunning, mystique, and raw magical power make it the ultimate adversary or benefactor in any campaign. Hags were already a nightmare to deal with on their own in Dungeons & Dragons, but now we get to see this amped up version as the epic figure behind the covens across your world. A challenge 21 rating creature. At first glance, this Arch-Hag is formidable. A large fey entity whose twisted otherworldly form exudes this unsettling blend of beauty and disguise and malevolence. With piercing eyes that shimmer with forbidden lore and a visage marred by the passage of untold ages, these hags strike both awe and terror into the hearts of those who dare cross their paths or sleep in their domain. Unlike many creatures confined to a single lair or region, you get to creatively bend where this Arch-Hag roams any habitat imaginable. You can do desolate ruins, you can do some opulent mansion, anywhere that you're thinking of to place them. Always in search of arcane treasures and lost secrets, the Arch-Hag is there. What I am struck by is how this creature interacts in combat. An Arch-Hag is going to be making 4 attacks on its turn while moving great distances and still getting to use a twisted version of counterspell plus legendary actions at other points in combat. Her physical strikes, you'll see, take on a trait that is new to the 2024 Monster Manual. When she lands her physical strikes, creatures are automatically knocked prone if they're large or smaller. Then she has this ability called Crackling Wave that she can use to then force dex saves, which she should use after those physical strikes, because if a creature is prone, they're going to have disadvantage on those dex saves. And that's not it for her turn. Then she gets to follow that up with a bonus action of lightning damage to all creatures that she has cursed with her Crackling Wave ability or other ways that she has cursed them, including her counterspell earlier. Repeat that every turn while using legendary actions to move around the area of combat and the counterspell to prevent ranged spells she already resists well. This, my friends, is a terror in combat. To back up a little bit though, we're going to drop some seeds that she exists in our campaign because she has some lair actions that actually change the atmosphere and increase tension if you are sleeping in an area around 1 mile away from her lair or just simply traveling through. Her 2 lair actions are Lapsus Linguae, which is Latin for slip of the tongue, and enemies of the hag creatures except her allies within a mile of her lair subtract a d10 from any ability checks they make when they take the influence action, which means your persuasion, your deception, etc. 1d10 minus anything like that while near her. Plus, she has this ability called Meddlesome Magic. Whenever a creature other than the hag or its allies finish a long rest within a mile of the lair, the next time that creature casts a spell using a spell slot, it also casts Confusion centered on itself. Each creature within a 10-foot radius of that spellcaster needs to make a wisdom saving throw, or they potentially don't get to take an action and use all of its movement to then wander in a random direction. The target might just not move or take actions, or the target might get to choose its behavior freely. There's a d10 table that is associated with confusion that dictates what they'll do for that turn. And since the spellcaster is casting a leveled spell, it is very likely that this is during combat at some point where this becomes very inconvenient. So those are her 2 lair actions, which if you're me and you're running this, I would say the slip of the tongue, lapsus linguae, and that meddlesome magic are going to be your party's first clues that there might be something influencing them. They're maybe just wandering through the woods for some other reason. They make camp, and then next thing they know, they're speaking funny and their spells are causing confusion. And then eventually they may learn, oh, it's because of this hag. But let's not stop there. We've got a stat block to jump into. Like I said earlier, Arch-Hags are challenge rating 21, so we're going to see some huge numbers here. These should be potentially your endgame boss, your big bad. You've built a whole campaign around a Arch-Hag. Or they're just this extremely powerful NPC that the party should eventually learn they should not mess with and they should comply with or get away. The Arch-Hag boasts with an armor class of 20, an initiative roll plus 16, almost guaranteeing that she is the first to go in combat, and a hit point pool of 333 on average. Movement speed is 40, and she's got all extremely positive stats. Strength plus 7, con plus 6, intelligence and wisdom plus 4, charisma plus 7, and dex plus 2. And then her saves are even better. Plus, she does have magic resistance, so she has advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. And if she's in her lair, 5 legendary resistances to automatically succeed any saving throw she fails. If she fails. She's resistant to cold, fire, and psychic, immune to charmed, exhaustion, and frightened, has true sight of 60 feet, and is just overall an extremely high floor of skills and abilities. Additionally, more of the flavor outside of combat, she has a trait called Coven Magic, allowing her to cast some information acquiring spells, things like augury to kind of understand the future and the intentions of others, identify to understand items, locate object to find what she's looking for, scrying to watch your party when they are not near her, and unseen servants to do her bidding. Additionally, she has this ability called Spiteful Escape, which is going to be a huge lore point in your story that revolves around this item called an anathema. This anathema is an item that is the hag's most hated object. It represents her deepest anger about the world. And so you get to pick what that is, and the unfortunate thing for your party is this. If they kill the hag and that anathema is not within 30 feet of the hag, she's not dead. She drops to 1 hit point, teleports to a harmless demiplane, returns 2d6 later, and every single creature within 60 feet of the space that she left from is cursed. And that curse does not end until a remove curse spell or the like is cast on that person, and those cursed individuals have disadvantage on ability checks and saving throws, and the hag knows its location anywhere in the multiverse. That is insanely huge, and that's going to take the party a while and a pretty expensive process to get those curses removed. Next, I already hinted at this, but let's go into those actions that she has. She gets multi-attack, where she makes 2 Spectral Claw attacks and uses Crackling Wave, which she should do in that order. Spectral Claw, melee or ranged attack roll, up to a range of 60 feet. This is phenomenal. She's not going to get disadvantage on that based on range because she's got a reach of 10 feet. The minimum reach that she can do is a melee attack up to 10 feet, or she can then convert that to a ranged of 60 feet. That's huge. That's very versatile. As she's moving around, she can be using those long, just uncomfortable arms to then swipe at different party members. It deals force damage at 17 average, and then if the target is large or smaller, it has the prone condition. That just automatically happens. And that type of interaction is a new way that they've done. Instead of forcing saving throws in this monster manual, some of these abilities just force the condition if the attack hits, which is the case for the Spectral Claw. So at that point, she's used 2 of those attacks. She gets a plus 14 to hit, very likely going to hit. She'll knock potentially 2 creatures prone. Then she'll use Crackling Wave, forcing a dex save, DC 22. And if that creature is prone, they have disadvantage on that. This is a 60-foot cone. And on failure, it does an average of 32 lightning damage, success of half. But get this. Whether or not your creature, your party member, fails or saves that saving throw, does not matter. The target is cursed until the end of the hag's next turn, and the target cannot take reactions until the curse ends. So, everyone she hits with that Crackling Wave, she can just walk by without fear of taking attacks of opportunity. With that speed of 40 feet, she can pretty much move around the combat arena as she wants. Everyone who gets hit by that can't attack her with an attack of opportunity. They do not get reactions. So, with the right positioning, the right cone, she can then walk freely without worrying about using spells to move around. But she still has that option too. So that's her action. 2 attacks, Crackling Wave. Then she gets the bonus action of Witch Strike. Each creature cursed by the hag within 60 feet of it takes 14 or 4d6 lightning damage. So 2 big strikes, force damage, Crackling Wave, average of 32 lightning damage. Then those who fail or succeed are cursed. So then she just gets to follow that up with Witch Strike, dealing an additional Crackling Wave of lightning damage. She also gets a reaction, Tongue Twister. The hag casts Counterspell in response to a spell's trigger, and after doing that, if the target fails the saving throw, it's also cursed until the end of its next turn. Until the curse ends, the target cannot cast spells with a verbal component, and when it speaks, it says the opposite of what it means. So that will take a little bit of role play from that party member to then say what it doesn't mean to say, if it says anything at all. But knocking out the category of spells with verbal components is pretty massive. This hag is shutting down your spellcasters by doing this, and that curse lasts until the end of its next turn. So it takes its turn now, and then it ends its next turn. That lasts a long time. Lastly, legendary actions. It has 3 regularly or 4 in its lair. And it gets Hag Swipe. The hag makes another Spectral Claw attack. And it also has Malicious Magic, where the hag uses its spellcasting to cast Dimension Door or Hypnotic Pattern. If it were me, I would be using those legendary actions for additional swipe attacks, so that I would not be trying to balance my spellcasting to not have Counterspell ready to go. If you're wanting to bring an Arch-Hag into your campaign, but maybe she's not your big bad, you don't want to build an entire campaign centered around fighting her, what I would do is this. I would have my party seeking out a particular item or a particular boon or even a particular NPC that has been captured by a hag. But the bottom line is this: the hag has something that the party wants. And then I would make this hag's lair an abandoned mansion. Its corridors shifting like a labyrinth. It twists on the ideas of memory and magic. As the adventurers explore, they notice subtle signs that something's amiss. They hear whispers that echo with voices of other people that they know. This twisted, weird, personal story being told in this abandoned mansion. And then eventually and suddenly the Arch-Hag would reveal herself. She would emerge from her hidden demiplane within the mansion, and she would offer them that thing that they want. Yes, I have exactly what you need, but it comes at an extremely heavy price. And then she would offer them options. That maybe one of your characters needs to give over a cherished memory or forget that a loved one exists. Maybe there's some particular relic or item that she really needs that someone else has. Or maybe her anathema. She wants them to go and find it for her and bring it to her so that she can then do something with it to try to ensure that it stays far away from her. She may even ask for years off of the adventurer's life. At that point, your party has a choice, and they need to figure out how are they going to interact with this hag to get what they want. That's how I would run one as sort of a side quest part of my campaign, so that they're not trying to fight her or needing to fight her, and they know this is an extremely powerful creature. In summary, the Arch-Hag stands as a symbol of arcane malice and manipulative genius, a creature whose every facet, from her spectral attacks, her bargains, everything, forces adventurers to reckon with the true cost of interacting with an Arch-Hag. So, if you're a DM eager to weave some web of secrets and curses into your campaign, the Arch-Hag is an unforgettable adversary. If you've enjoyed this dive into one of the most versatile and ominous creatures of the multiverse, be sure to subscribe to Monster Spotlight for more thrilling highlights and tactical breakdowns. Leave a comment below, please, with your wildest ideas of using this Arch-Hag and what you would do with this deadly foe. And stay tuned. Next time, we're going to keep working our way alphabetically through the entire monster manual. Until then, keep your wits sharp and your secrets even sharper.